want you, the listener. Yes, I want you, the listener, to press the like button, the subscribe button, but more importantly, comments. Comments that you liked or disliked the topic discussed. What would you like discussed? Because you, the listener, are who is important to me so that I can provide the value that you want and need.
Joel, you get some interesting questions through the course of the day.
Oh, without a doubt. Every day is an adventure.
Let's jump into this. So you had a customer who complained about a less than pristine bathroom.
Correct.
But they didn't understand the why.
And you got to find out the why in any scenario.
Mm-hmm.
In this example, which is good for all startup companies and even some that are slightly established, because you want to find the whys. Just because a client says that there's a problem doesn't necessarily mean it's a problem.
Seems counterintuitive. Help me understand.
So you have to do some investigation. In this case, we'll go back to the beginning of this particular contract. This facility that we clean the common areas twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, it worked out fantastic. Everything was humming along. There was no issues. And then all of a sudden, we started getting, well, the bathrooms weren't clean. The bathrooms weren't clean. The bathrooms weren't clean. Well, you've got only 2 days a week, and geez, we're seeing a lot more activity. There's like a lot more trash and things like that. So they went and talked to the tenants on the floor, and they found out that they had increased from like 10 employees to almost 30.
Oh, okay.
So you have, this is all tenants going, from roughly like 10 to almost 30 employees. So a plus 20.
Okay.
Well, the average person uses a bathroom 4 times a day. And there's only 2 restrooms. There's a men's room and a ladies' room to support this entire floor. The one particular office is all women. And where were the problems? In the ladies' room. So you take 20 additional people going to the restroom 4 times a day. That is 80 times a day that restroom's used. So when you have 4 days between cleanings, that is a lot of uses of the bathroom.
Sure.
So trash cans are going to get full. Hygiene receptacles are going to get full. Toilet paper is going to be used. Paper towels are going to be used. Hand soap's going to be used. They're going to look a little less tidy. At that time, we moved it to 3-day-a-week cleaning. And by doing that and upcharging the client for the extra day, boom, the complaints went away. Fast forward 4 months after that scenario was fixed, get a call less than an hour before we had to go in and clean them on the next cycle. And they're saying, well, I just got a bunch of complaints from this facility saying that the bathrooms were, dirty again. And they sent me a bunch of pictures. And I told them, I said, well, the bathrooms aren't dirty. I said, but they are in need of some touch-up work for sure. Mm-hmm. But this is a full cycle clean tonight, so that'll be taken care of.
So just for clarification, your service was going in that day. They're dirty because they have not been cleaned for the day.
Correct.
Okay.
Because this account's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday account, so we don't clean them on Thursday. So you have all those bathroom uses on Thursday, plus all of the bathroom uses on Friday, and now we're 1 hour before we send people to the bathrooms to clean them for the normal cycle. The guy that I'm dealing with hasn't dealt with some of these things because he's newer to this position. So I had explained to him what had happened prior to him coming. I said, did you ask the tenant on the floor if they've been growing again?
I believe you're leading to is, since the previous issue was due to corporate tenants hiring people, more people in the facility, more people using the restrooms, might this be happening again? Your expectation is it is.
And that is my question to him, to ask the tenants, have you had increase of employees or increase in traffic of clients coming to your space? Because that will make a difference in the total usage of the restrooms on a floor. So if they come back and say, no, that's a clear step that we have a misstep.
Sure.
But I'm pretty certain that they have increased because with our systems of checks and balances, I know that they were cleaned on the last scheduled frequency. The only thing that could be different on my aspect is an increase in usage. The only way we can adapt to that increase of usage is to increase the frequencies of how often we clean. So in this case, it'll go from originally 2 days, then to 3 days, now to potentially 5 days. Mm-hmm. Well, what if the problem happens again down the road? Again, you ask the same question of the tenants, because if you increase the number of people, there might be a need for a porter. They can be punched up just before lunch, just after lunch, so that the restrooms are free and clear of SX trash, paper on the floor, restock, things like that to ensure that there's no obvious problems. Wipe the water off of the sink counters so that you have a more consistent look to your restroom throughout the day.
Would one of the duties of a porter also be in the middle of the winter, cleaning up any tracked in snow and ice melt, keeping the hallways clean? Are those some of the other duties that would occur along with, other than just attending to the restrooms?
Yeah, porters can have a wide range of things that they may do. Entrances is definitely one of them. Touching up door glass, depending on the time of year or season, because if you have a wet spring or a wet fall, you might have to do some mopping up and drying a floor so there's no slip falls, that the walk-off mats haven't shifted. Some places I know will even have a porter. There's deliveries, just double check the product to make sure that, hey, we're supposed to have 10 cases of this, 4 cases of that, just a little checklist for the client or whatever. If you clean the tenant spaces and there's a mess trash can, they may have to go up and take care of that. And yes, hallways, stairwells, punching them up, looking for Kleenex, wrappers, whatever, sweeping them up, mopping them up. If there's a spill, blotting it up, putting out safety cones, things like that, so you reduce slip falls.
Okay, let's turn this into a couple of action items for our listener as we come to a close on this episode. It occurs to me that based on your really balanced response to the property manager, that the first step is don't get upset.
Yes, do not get upset. And in this industry, that can be very hard because nobody calls you to tell you that you did a good job. You only get a call when something is wrong.
Sure. You have this point, and customers calling to complain. You've dealt with this situation before. So seeing it come in, having history on this might be the same recurring problem, even though they're calling to complain, this actually is an opportunity not only to show your professionalism, not responding in anger, taking a measured approach, hearing them out. We've had podcasts on that before. Allow that person to talk and then respond with a leading question that could actually turn into more billable time.
And that's the easiest way to grow your business is with your current customers and expanding your service to meet their needs. Understand it could go the other way. Wow, these bathrooms are too clean. Have you ever heard that? Realize that there's not as much need because maybe a customer's laying off or has moved out of the building or whatever, and being forthright with that to a property management company. Hey, we noticed that this bathrooms aren't as dirty as they normally are, so maybe the frequencies have to be scaled down. Being the eyes, the ears, and the mouth for the tenants as well as for the property manager, you put yourself in a power position because you're being honest and forthright about both sides of the equation and asking the right questions to ensure that you are providing the proper service.
That honest, transparent action really just creates so much more trust. And for those times a team member didn't quite complete the job to the usual capacity, there's a little leniency there when they know that you've been upfront with them.
Correct.
To our listener, the next time a customer calls, tweaks your buttons, remember this episode. If you need a little brush up to get you past that, contact Joel. Joel, thank you.
Thank you, Ray.